there's full working on commission only.
Yeah.
So I had basically a 9 to 5. I had a paycheck, and it was consistent every hour. No matter what I did, it was consistent. Whether I was not motivated, whether I was super motivated that day, I had a paycheck.
Right.
And it's safe, it's secure, but I wasn't happy. So the way I figured it out, Brian, was that I needed to make sure that I saw 6 months straight of real estate income, which is basically a closing a month for me.
Okay.
So when I saw that consistently, and then the accident happened, the accident was the icing on the cake to say, it's time.
Yeah.
But I also had to piggyback on, was I getting closings? Am I okay enough to live and eat on my side gig, and at the same time, like, just catapult myself? And when you can answer those two things, one, does it make you happy? And two, are you actually being able to create income so you can live? I had a mortgage for myself. You have a car payment. All these things, you're self-independent. If you can answer these things, then you can pull the trigger.
That's amazing to hear. And I think the biggest issue that most millennials have nowadays is debt, credit card debt.
Sure.
And you learn how to manage that yourself.
I did.
Without any help?
Yeah, I did. I've been saving since, I used to have Excel sheets since I was 13, just by myself, teaching myself how to budget.
Wow.
Yeah, in fact, I remember my first semester in University of Maryland College of Art, I was dorming, and I spent $200, and I thought, what did I spend on? That's too much money. Yeah. I used to think, like, $200 a month, like, what did I spend? Man, that's a lot of money. Like, I gotta, like, start saving and budget right. But at the time, of course, I wasn't working. I was in school.
Yeah.
I think it's just if you have the right habit and you're very aware with money in, coming out, and all of that, then you should be able to.
You were taught, like, frugality from a very young age, right? It seems like.
Yeah, definitely.
What were your vices, or did you have any vices that was like your...
My supplements with fitness.
Okay, I can completely understand that.
Yeah.
And was that it?
Yeah, that was it. I mean, I didn't have like gambling. I didn't have any.
I was going to say, like, Asians known for gambling.
No, I don't know how to gamble. I actually don't. I still have yet to go to Vegas. I don't know when I'll go to Vegas.
Atlantic City? That's true.
I've been there, but I didn't even gamble. I don't know how to gamble.
I mean, literally just put your money down and just, like, let it ride.
Yeah, that's true. Like, yeah, or unless you want to play blackjack or, like, whatever, like, roulette, Russian roulette, all those things. Yeah.
But that never interests you.
No. I was like your plain, boring, I guess, person that just wanted to manage money by myself, and then it played into adulthood.
Do you have any vices now? I'm curious now.
Yeah, sure. I mean,
cars?
Yeah, like, sure, it's good to invest in something that you can take a lot of pride in, because that was not given to me.
Right.
I worked hard for that.
Yeah.
And, God bless my dad. He passed away in 2009 from terminal cancer. And I thank you. And I'm dad's little girl, and I know he's watching.
Uh-huh.
And even my license plate is my family last name. Like, I do everything because of him. And you asked me off the show, like, why do I do it, and where's the picture?
Yeah.
For me, it's always been a family legacy. It's not about, like, making sales as well, but it's not just working. Like, I want to create something where I can pass it down to my future kids.
Yeah. So legacy is your big long game.
I would say so. Yeah. I think it's good to leave something behind.
Well, I guess I've never actually talked about this. One thing I've always told my military friends, especially, if and when I do have kids, I want them to do either two things. And one was either join the military or learn how to play poker.
Poker?
Yeah.
Really?
The reason why I say that is because with those two things, you learn perspectives, like in the military, and you also learn perspective in poker, where you learn the people around you at the table.
Oh, good point.
And at the same time, you learn how to multitask. And you kind of have to learn how to code switch. You may have the greatest hand in the world, to me, I always think of the military as the biggest gang in the world. So I always think, if you have the biggest trump in your hand, how are you going to play it? Because you could easily play it and show it off, and you don't win big. But at the same time, if you bluff and you act like you don't, and you try to act like it's not much, or you kind of like hide your emotions, you can win a little bit more.
It's tactic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I always wondered, like, what do you see yourself giving your kids, or your future generations, other than houses or money, wealth.
Yeah, I mean, see what you're saying. I think these are attainable. These are physical things. What is hard to teach is mindset,
Right.
because mindset is everything.
Yes.
If you've seen a lot of successful people, and then they decide to take their own life, and I think what's so important is to have the right mindset, because when you have the right mindset, everything falls into place. You know your personal life, you know your family life, you know your business, and you know where to go about how you're going to create your life. So what is important to teach, if I, in the future when I have my kids,
Right.
is the idea that there is no ceiling. You have to grow every day, whether it's meeting more people that are just like you that can improve you, because I always believe that there's 3 types of people you need in your life. First one are people that can learn from you. Second one are people that are just like you and you can relate to them. And third one are people that will teach you and mentor you and pull you to something to the next level.
Where did you learn that?
I don't remember.
Okay. It reminds me, I read a book, Tim Ferriss. I think it was Tribe of Mentors. And a famous UFC fighter, Ken Shamrock, he called it the plus-minus-equal system. So whenever he was sparring, he would always figure out a system where he would find someone lesser than him who he could teach, someone equal to him so he could spar and match himself, and someone better to teach him how to get better.
Wow. Same exact thing?
Same exact thing.
I did not read that book. I meant to, but it's huge.
Yeah.
It's such a huge book.
Like
I've read a lot of books.
I spent a lot of time in the car, so I would listen to all of Tim Ferriss'
Good
podcasts,
point.
and he was one of them as well.
Good point.
I want to hear any other gems in terms of mindset, because I feel like you are on the opposite side of me, where I kind of got all my knowledge from other people, basically other people, and you kind of just self-started. That fascinates me to another level.
Well, I'm not going to say I didn't have any mentors.
Okay.
I did the same thing you did, which was finding podcasts where the most successful people shared what they did.
Right.
And there's something in the real estate industry where you're in any office, by the way, there's always a chatter, like the coffee mug, the talking in the kitchen, and just random chatter.
Okay.
And I remember I was so motivated to be full-time in real estate, I did not want to be in the office. So I worked a lot by myself because I knew that I only had this amount of days off as when I'm not being a nurse, and I need to do everything possible in those precious hours to get in as much as I can, either making calls or following up on certain friends or clients, things like that.
Yeah.
And when I became so intentional with it, all I realized was I didn't want to network with other realtors locally. I didn't have time. I didn't have time to go to the events. What I found, what was more intentional, was to listen to the podcast where the top of the top realtors are sharing what are the golden nuggets that they did. And after some time, hours and hours of listening, I found a pattern.
Yeah.
This is what they were doing, and all I had to do was not reinvent the wheel. It was just doing what they were already doing, because they figured it out before I did.
What do you think your principal foundations of those real estate nuggets and gems that are personal to you? That those are your core principles.
You can never stop finding business.
Okay.
If I could tell you one thing.
So network.
Yeah, network, reaching out to people, putting content out there, giving value to someone,
Right.
to the point where they decide to, you know what, I think I want to hire Christine. And when you are always actively looking for business, and in the sales term, filling in your pipeline,
Right.
you'll never run out of business. In fact, it'll always grow. The second that you decide to drop that, because you get busy, and don't get me wrong, I've fell to this trap, where if you get so busy that you're not finding more business, then there's that up and down with real estate sales, where you have more closings, and next year you have a lot of closings, so you start generating business.
Right.
And then you don't have enough business again, and then you start questioning yourself. Like, am I cut out for this? Just like any entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Because it's not a consistent paycheck.
Right.
But to make it consistent, you have to constantly fill in your pipeline, always.
What is your best way of filling your pipeline, your funnel?
Always talking to people about real estate. That's
your
it.
life is real estate.
Yeah, you gotta live it, speak it, breathe it, and that no matter what you're doing, you have to always learn more about it. Yeah.
how are you continuing your education too as well then?
Oh my gosh, that's a great question.
Yeah.
I mean, there's your typical CEs, but I don't think that that's specific to learning. I mean, you can learn a lot from it,
Right.
for sure.
Yeah.
I think it's always with the deals. The thing about when you get your real estate license, you are only taught everything by the book, and after that class, you're supposed to throw the book away. Just forget it, you won't use it again.
Right.
So you learn with your feet in and doing deals.
So you're really hands-on when it comes
You
to
have
the
to.
deals.
In fact, there's some new agents that I mentor, and they asked for my help, where they were finding all the CEs, finding all the classes to take, reading all the books, how-tos, contracts, and then what are you going to do with the home inspection? What are you going to do with the seller consultation? All these things don't matter until you find business.
Yeah.
You need to find the problems. Once you find the problems, then you can start learning a lot. You can't really learn from just someone. You have to learn. You can learn from someone.
Right.
Learn from their experiences,
Yeah.
but you have to
Experience.
do it yourself. Correct.
So I like when you said you had to find the problems and be the solution to them. What are the most common problems as a realtor that you normally solve, other than finding a home for somebody?
Well, it's definitely having enough money, of course.
Okay.
So with the types of families that I help,
Yeah.
they may not always have the enough money to go up to closing.
Yeah.
So you have to be a little creative, which is finding the state grant programs. Where they have to meet a certain qualification? They can't make too much money, right? You're not going to give the state's not going to give tens of thousands of dollars
Right.
if you have money.
Yeah.
So it's making sure they don't make enough money. They have a certain credit score. They don't have this many expenses. And when you tie that in with this, finding the state money to fund your down payment, and at the same time getting the seller side to negotiate to cover the remaining closing costs that are associated with buying the house, then it's a win then, because now your client doesn't have to bring as much money as they thought to purchase a house.
Could you name a couple of you said the state grants?
Yeah, there's one called the Maryland Mortgage Program.
Okay. What does that do?
So the one that I've used a lot through that program, you have to use an approved lender that is familiar with the product and has done it many times, because it takes a specific patience for that, because you have to get approved by the state. You have to do a home buyer class. You can get 4% of your down payment covered. So when you're buying real estate, there's two numbers. The first one is your down payment, and your second one are your closing costs.
Right.
Those are things like your settlement fees, your taxes, things of that nature.